Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Teacher Studio. In today's video, we're going to be talking about teaching adults and the principles that you should be considering to ensure that you have engaging lessons with your adults. So whether you're a seasoned teacher or just starting out, today I'll be sharing with you some key principles that you should consider so that you can excel when teaching adult learners English. Hey everyone, I'm Karina and this is the Teacher Studio, and here I will talk about the different tips, tricks, strategies, and just about anything that you can do to improve your online teaching capabilities. So if you're ready for today's lesson, grab your pen, your notebook, and let's get to class. First, let's talk about understanding adult learners. Now, teaching adults is very different from teaching kids or even teens. So here's why. Motivation and goals. So adult learners have specific reasons as to why they might be learning a language and why they might be learning English specifically. It could be for travel, for work, for communication with family or friends. So it's really important that you understand this reason, this core reason why, before you get into any teaching with an adult learner. This would help you to tailor your lessons, tailor your language in the classroom, and the way that you approach things like correcting them or grammar or listening exercises. It is the foundation for everything that you will do in the classroom. Life experience. So adult learners bring a wealth of experience into the classroom, and it would not be wise if you did not take advantage of this as ideas for teaching. So for example, if a student works in sales, dealing with customers face to face, it will be ideal for you to role play these types of scenarios in English. Of course, if the student is needing or if the student needs English for these situations. So ask them questions, ask them about their life, their hobbies, their work, every part that is open for conversation, of course. If it's not, then steer clear of it. But use these things in your classroom to help your student improve. Self-directed learning. So with adults, they are autonomous, or they value autonomy. So you want to kind of guide them in the direction of the materials that they can use on their own to improve their language skills. This can include things like websites, platforms, games, apps, audiobooks, anything that you can think of that would be of interest for your student. It really empowers them to take charge of their learning and be accountable and responsible for what they learn and what they don't learn. Of course, at the beginning, there would be some hand-holding where you follow up, right, with their application use, or if they've watched a couple episodes of their TV series in English. This is quite normal, but you want to keep them accountable so that they realize that it's up to them if they make improvements or not. Now, let's explore 4 key principles to keep in mind when teaching adults. Number 1, relevance. This goes without saying probably, but it's a good reminder anyway. So whether you're teaching, let's say, professionals, someone who's going on a trip soon, maybe it's an adult student at university, maybe someone is starting a new relationship and they need English, all of these are different categories where you need to target what you teach. Don't go on teaching, let's say, English for relationships to someone who signed up for your training for business purposes. You want to keep it relevant to their needs and their goals or their objectives. Otherwise, they would let you know. They would complain. They would say, oh, this is not fitting for me, or I don't understand why we're doing this. This is not interesting. I would say a great thing to try to plan to do is for the first 3 to 4 lessons, you want to have super targeted. So you're going to have to do a lot of research for these 3 to 4 lessons, but do it beforehand. Do it just after that needs analysis, before you really get started. This is when you do that deep dive research to find 3 to 4 lessons that are super targeted to your students' needs, because this kicks them off at a right start and this shows your competence. This helps to develop trust in you, right? In your research, in your guidance. It's going to be smooth sailing after this. And if you want to be cheeky and you want to give them or open their eyes a bit to some other things that might interest them, they would take it a lot easier, because they've already trusted your guidance, that if you decide to slip in some general English for, let's say, shopping at the supermarket, or medical English for talking to a doctor, they can see how it can work in their daily lives. They might have to go to the doctor on a business trip, or they might have to go to the supermarket, right? So you get my point. Relevance. So this kind of leads me into the second principle, which is practicality. So like I mentioned, the supermarket or going to the doctors while on a holiday or while on a business trip, these are real life situations that your student can find themselves in needing English. So teaching them to have, let's say, that conversation with the doctor or the GP, that first conversation, and you can do a quick role play of this easily to give them the confidence that they need, that they can quickly learn some phrases, some vocabulary, and this would already improve their trust in themselves when they go out into the world and in you. Again, that's highly important. The more trust that they have in you, the better, faster their language learning process goes as well. The next principle is respect and flexibility. So, if something isn't working, change it. Don't continue to do the same thing because you're stuck in your ways or your methods. Adults respect, or they value, teachers who can listen and adapt, even in the moment. If they've decided in that moment in the lesson, oh, this is not working, or I'm not feeling so comfortable with this, switch it up. Always have a backup, or always have something that you can do in the event of something going wrong. I also want to add, kind of related to respect, you might think for adults, oh, maybe they don't need all of the praise and the attention to those little details, but this is so important. You want to highlight if they are improving, if you've noticed anything that has improved, if they've started remembering some vocabulary, if their pronunciation is better, tell them, let them know. Value their effort and recognize their effort as well. This is such a confidence booster. They are going to be beaming for the rest of the lesson, so focused, ready to get in everything that they can, because they recognize, oh my God, it's working. I am making improvements and other people can see my improvements as well. The fourth principle is active engagement. So this is my favorite thing, because this is where you can see the personality of your students through English, and they can see a little bit of yours as well. This is how you keep the lesson interactive, with discussions, debates, role plays, anything of that sort that gets your student thinking sort of outside of the box, and where you can almost test their English and what they know, what they can remember in the moments of your conversation. During my lessons, I love to ask open-ended questions that allow my students to expand on any answers that they've given. Or sometimes I can just say, tell me more. And this allows them to talk freely, whatever they want to say, in however, in any order. This is a great way to give them confidence just to speak naturally, and you get to know them better. They get to know you a little better. The walls come down and they are relaxed in the classroom. A relaxed student is a learning student. Those are my 4 principles, and let's get a little practical. Here's some practical things that you could put into practice now in your classroom to give you a little edge, or to make your adult lessons a bit more interactive and adult. Use authentic materials. You can find lessons based on news stories, news reports, something you've seen recently, articles, art galleries, a pamphlet or a booklet that you've seen somewhere. Literally anything can be a resource for a lesson. Be creative. You can even ask your students if they might have something interesting that they would like to talk about, or something that they're doing right now at work, maybe a project or an initiative, a charity they are a part of. Anything can be a resource for an English lesson. Incorporate visual aids. So these can be anything from infographics to short videos, reels, TikTok videos, long form videos like YouTube, or maybe an episode from a movie on Netflix, an episode from a TV series on Netflix, or a part of a movie. Anything can be interesting and to add a little bit more pizzazz to the classroom so it's not the same old format every time. Constructive feedback. So at the end of every lesson, every lesson with every student that I have, I give feedback on one point that is interesting for them. So it could be listening, reading, their comprehension skills, pronunciation skills, vocabulary, anything that you've noticed they've put some effort into during that 1 hour of your lesson. Give them some constructive feedback on that, and they would leave feeling valued. They would leave feeling they've achieved something at the end of their lesson, and with a bit more motivation to be prepared for the next lesson coming. So there you have it. Those are a few of my practical tips that you can add as an extra to your lessons. To wrap up, teaching adults English is all about being creative, interactive, and respecting their differences as learners. So think about your next adult lesson and try to incorporate or try to rework some of these principles into your lesson. Remember, you want them to feel like they are in charge of their learning process and you are a guide or a coach. You are more like a coach for them. So don't be too fixed or strict on your methods, and be more flexible, right? Be more targeted for each of your learners and give them feedback. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share it with another teacher or coach, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you enjoyed or what was a tip that you thought was useful for you, and I'll see you in the next video.